What if everything we thought we knew about the origins of the Greeks was just the tip of the iceberg? The ancient Greeks, renowned as the architects of democracy, philosophy, and art, are often perceived as a distinct and isolated people with a singular cultural identity. However, modern genetic research is uncovering a narrative far more captivating than we could have imagined. Scientists have meticulously analyzed DNA extracted from ancient Greek skeletons and compared it with that of modern populations. Their findings reveal that the Greek people maintain profound, unbroken connections to their ancient ancestors. At the same time, they are the result of thousands of years of migration and cultural exchange. Today's video delves deep into uncovering the true genetic origins of the Greeks. Where did their ancestors truly come from? How closely are they related to ancient civilizations like the Mycenaeans and Minoans? And what impact did migrations from the Eurasian steppe and Anatolia have on shaping the modern Greek population? Stay tuned, because this exploration isn't just about numbers and data, it's a gripping saga of identity, resilience, and evolution that spans millennia. By the end of this video, you'll gain a profound understanding of how genetics can rewrite historical narratives and why the Greek people represent an extraordinary blend of continuity and change. We'll also explore how significant historical events, such as migrations, wars, and conquests, have left indelible marks on Greek DNA. So, if you've ever pondered how ancient Greek myths stack up against scientific truths, you're in the right place. Let's embark on this surprising journey through Greek ancestry. Greek mythology has bequeathed us enchanting legendary tales regarding the origins of the Greek people. According to tradition, all Greeks trace their lineage back to Helen, the son of Deucalion and Pyrrha, who survived a great flood. From Helen's descendants emerged the four major Greek tribes, the Dorians, Ionians, Aeolians, and Achaeans. These tribes were regarded as unique in the ancient world, with their divine ancestry linking them to gods like Zeus, Apollo, and Athena. For centuries, these myths have molded how Greeks perceive their identity. However, while these stories are captivating, they fall short of fully explaining the scientific origins of the Greek people. Myths offer poetic interpretations, but genetics enables us to unearth the real history. And this is where the story gets truly intriguing. The Greeks were never as isolated as their myths might lead us to believe. Ancient Greek culture was the product of interactions with numerous different populations over thousands of years. Through the analysis of ancient DNA, scientists have discovered that Greek ancestry is a rich blend of several ancient populations, rather than stemming from a single group tied to mythological origins. Genetic research is revealing that the true narrative of Greek identity is far more complex and fascinating than the myths alone can convey. Ancient Greece was not a closed, homogeneous society. Instead, it was shaped by successive waves of migration, trade, and cultural exchange with other civilizations. So, while the Greeks can still celebrate their rich mythology, science offers us the opportunity to appreciate an even deeper story, one that's just as incredible as the myths themselves. The most thrilling part of uncovering the genetic origins of the Greeks has come through DNA sequencing projects. Scientists have collected DNA samples from ancient bones and teeth, some sourced from Minoan tombs on the Greek mainland and others from Minoan ruins on Crete. They then compared these ancient samples with the DNA of modern Greeks and other ancient populations from surrounding regions. The findings were revolutionary. Both the Minoans and Mycenaeans share genetic similarities with modern Greeks, indicating a direct link between today's Greek population and these ancient Bronze Age civilizations. This was an exhilarating discovery, as it demonstrates that Greek identity has deep roots and has remarkably endured over thousands of years. But that's not all. The studies also revealed that the ancient Greeks were not confined to their region. They were part of a larger network of populations across the Mediterranean and Near East. Specifically, both ancient and modern Greeks share a significant amount of ancestry with Neolithic farmers from Anatolia. This indicates that people from Anatolia migrated to Greece thousands of years ago, bringing with them new agricultural practices and genes that became integral to the Greek genetic makeup. Another fascinating detail is that the DNA of ancient Minoans also contains a small trace of steppe ancestry, likely linked to the Indo-European migrations. This means that over time, the Greeks assimilated new genetic influences from people migrating from the Eurasian steppe. The key takeaway is that modern Greek DNA is a harmonious blend of ancient continuity and external interaction, illustrating how the Greeks have evolved through the ages. To understand the deeper roots of Greek ancestry, we must journey back to the Neolithic period, around 8,000 to 9,000 years ago. During this time, farmers from Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, migrated into Europe, introducing agriculture. These early farmers didn't just bring farming techniques, they also left a significant genetic imprint on the populations of Greece and other parts of the Mediterranean. What makes this period so crucial is that these Neolithic migrations laid the foundation for Greek ancestry. Studies show that both ancient and modern Greeks carry a large percentage of their DNA from these early Anatolian settlers. This means that long before the rise of city-states like Athens, the people living in Greece were already connected to populations across the Aegean and Near East. The Anatolian farmers didn't stop in Greece, they spread their influence across Europe. This is why modern Greeks share some genetic similarities with other European populations, especially those in southern Europe. However, what sets the Greeks apart is their closer connection to these early Neolithic populations, with a genetic continuity that has endured for thousands of years. This continuity is remarkable, considering all the changes Greece has undergone: wars, invasions, and migrations. Despite these disruptions, the genetic legacy of these Neolithic farmers has remained intact, highlighting the remarkable resilience of the Greek population over time. The Bronze Age witnessed the rise of two legendary Greek civilizations, the Minoans on Crete and the Mycenaeans on mainland Greece. The Minoans were renowned for their advanced palaces and art, while the Mycenaeans, with their warrior culture, inspired epic tales like the Iliad. But the question of their origins has puzzled historians for years. Were these civilizations native to Greece, or did they migrate from elsewhere? DNA studies have provided the answer. The Minoans and Mycenaeans were closely related and both shared ancestry with Neolithic farmers from Anatolia. This means that these early Greek civilizations didn't emerge out of nowhere, they evolved locally from populations that had inhabited the region for thousands of years. However, the Mycenaeans also showed traces of steppe ancestry, which is associated with the Indo-European migrations. This suggests that new influences arrived in Greece during the Bronze Age, shaping the culture and genetics of the Mycenaeans. These findings are significant because they demonstrate that while Greek culture was influenced by external populations, its roots remained deeply embedded in the region. The people who built the palaces of Knossos and Mycenae were not foreigners, they were part of a continuous Greek lineage that stretches back to the Neolithic period. Around 5,000 years ago, waves of people from the Eurasian steppes began migrating across Europe. These groups brought with them new technologies, languages, and ideas, and they are linked to the spread of Indo-European languages, the family of languages that includes Greek. DNA evidence shows that these steppe migrants left a subtle yet lasting mark on Greek ancestry. Scientists found traces of steppe ancestry in Minoan DNA, suggesting that the Mycenaeans absorbed new influences during the Indo-European migrations. However, the steppe contribution to Greek genetics is relatively small, much less than what we find in northern European populations such as those in Germany or the Baltic region. This indicates that while Greece was affected by these migrations, the core of its genetic identity was rooted in earlier Neolithic and Bronze Age populations. The Indo-European migrations likely brought about important cultural shifts in Greece, including changes in language and social structure. Linguists believe that the Greek language emerged as part of this broader Indo-European family, though it developed independently over time. The warrior culture seen in the Mycenaeans, with their fortified palaces and heroic tales, may also reflect influences from the steppe migrants. Despite these new elements, Greek culture remained unique. The people living in Greece blended the influences of the steppe migrants with their older traditions, forming a distinct civilization that would become the foundation of ancient Greece. This period of interaction between local and foreign influences highlights a key theme in Greek history: the ability to adapt without losing one's identity. The Aegean has long been a crossroads of civilizations. Throughout history, people from neighboring regions like Anatolia, Egypt, and the Levant interacted with the Greek world through trade, migration, and conquest. These exchanges left subtle but lasting traces in the genetic makeup of the Greek people. The DNA of both ancient and modern Greeks shows some shared ancestry with populations from the eastern Mediterranean, particularly from Anatolia and the Levant. These connections are not surprising, given that ancient Greece was part of a thriving trade network that spanned the Aegean and beyond. For example, the Minoans, one of the earliest Greek civilizations, traded extensively with Egyptians and Phoenicians. This interaction wasn't just about goods, it also facilitated the movement of people and ideas. Over time, small groups of migrants from these neighboring regions settled in Greece, contributing to the diversity of its population. Even though these migrations were not large-scale, they added new genetic layers to the Greek population, creating a unique blend of genes from across the eastern Mediterranean. However, the core of Greek ancestry remained local. While the Greeks absorbed these outside influences, they preserved their distinct identity. This balance between openness to the world and cultural continuity is one of the reasons why ancient Greece was able to develop such a rich and influential civilization. Over the centuries, Greece has experienced several conquests and occupations. Each of these events left a subtle mark on Greek genetics. When Rome conquered Greece in the 2nd century BC, Greek culture deeply influenced Roman civilization. But did Roman genes have a similar effect on the Greeks? Surprisingly, the genetic impact of the Roman occupation appears to have been minimal, with the core Greek population remaining stable throughout this period. The Byzantine Empire, which followed the fall of Rome, was essentially a continuation of Greek culture under a Christian framework. During this time, there was little population displacement, meaning that the genetic continuity from ancient Greece remained intact. However, the Ottoman Empire, which ruled Greece for nearly 400 years, introduced new cultural influences and some genetic mixing. Ottoman rule brought migrants from different parts of the empire into Greece, including people from the Balkans, Anatolia, and the Middle East. Although these populations contributed to the genetic diversity of Greece, the core ancestry of the Greeks remained remarkably stable. What's fascinating is that despite centuries of conquest and foreign rule, modern Greek DNA still shows a strong connection to ancient Greek populations. The genetic influence of these empires is present but not dominant. The idea that the Greek people have maintained a continuous identity throughout their history is one of the most remarkable aspects of Greek ancestry. The continuity stretches across thousands of years, from the Neolithic farmers to the Minoans, and from classical Greece to the modern era. The core of Greek identity has remained. In fact, DNA studies have shown that modern Greeks share significant genetic similarities with their ancient ancestors, proving that the population of Greece has been relatively stable over time. At the same time, Greek identity has evolved through interaction with other cultures. The Greek people have absorbed influences from the Eastern Mediterranean and the Eurasian steppe, creating a unique cultural and genetic mosaic. This ability to adapt while preserving tradition is a hallmark of Greek history. The continuity of Greek ancestry is not just about genetics, it's also about cultural identity. Throughout history, the Greek people have faced challenges, including foreign conquests and migrations, yet they have always managed to maintain a sense of who they are, preserving their language, traditions, and values. This combination of continuity and change is what makes the Greek story so compelling. Today, modern Greeks are proud of both their ancient roots and their ability to adapt. Whether it's in the arts, politics, or philosophy, the legacy of ancient Greece continues to inspire the world. So, what does the genetic story of the Greeks tell us? It's a story of both continuity and change, tradition and adaptation. The Greek people are deeply connected to their ancient ancestors, with a direct link to the Minoans, Mycenaeans, and Neolithic farmers who lived in the region thousands of years ago. At the same time, their DNA reflects centuries of interaction with neighboring populations, including steppe migrants, Anatolians, and people from the Eastern Mediterranean. What makes Greek ancestry so fascinating is that despite these influences, the core identity of the Greek people has remained remarkably stable. From the Bronze Age civilizations to the modern era, the Greeks have shown an incredible ability to adapt without losing their sense of self. In many ways, the story of Greek ancestry mirrors the history of Greece itself, a blend of continuity and transformation shaped by both local traditions and global interactions. The next time you think about Greece, remember that the story of its people is not just one of ancient heroes and philosophers, it's a living, breathing story that continues to evolve, just as it has for thousands of years.